Margaret's makeover. Duh, duh, duh! Watch out, Gorinda! You're smearing your nail varnish, screeched Moody Margaret. Violet, don't touch your face. You're spoiling all my hard work. Susan, sit still. I am sitting still, said Sour Susan. Stop pulling my hair. I'm not pulling your hair, hissed Margaret. I'm styling it. Ouch, squealed Susan. You're hurting me. I am not, crybaby. I'm not a crybaby, howled Susan. Moody Margaret sighed loudly. Not everyone can be naturally beautiful like me. Some people, she glared at Susan, have to work at it. You're not beautiful, said Sour Susan, snorting. I am too, said Margaret, preening herself. I'm not, said Susan. On the ugly scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the ugliest, wartiest toad, you're a 2. Huh, said Margaret. Well, you're so ugly you're -1. They don't have an ugly scale for you. I want my money back, shrieked Susan. No way, shrieked Margaret. Now sit down and shut up. Across the wall in the next garden, deep inside the branches, hiding the top secret entrance of the Purple Hanggang Fort, a master spy pricked up his ears. Money? Had he heard the word money? What was going on next door? Horrid Henry zipped out of his fort and dashed to the low well wall, separating his garden from Margaret's. Then he stared, and stared some more. He'd seen many weird things in his life, but nothing as weird as this. Moody Margaret, Sour Susan, Lazy Linda, Vain Violet, and Gorgeous Gorinda were sitting in Margaret's garden. Susan had rollers tangling her pink hair. Violet had blue mascara all over her face. Linda was covered in gold glitter. There was split nail varnish, face powder, and broken lipstick all over Margaret's patio. Horrid Henry burst out laughing. Oh, are you playing clowns? Said Henry. Huh. That's how much you know, Henry, said Margaret. I'm doing makeovers. What's that? Said Henry. It's when you change how people look, dummy, said Margaret. I knew that, lied Henry. I just wanted to see if you did. Margaret waved a leaflet in his face. Margaret's magnificent makeovers. I can make you beautiful. Yes, even you. No one too old or too ugly. Only £1 for a new you. Hurry. Special offer ends soon. Makeovers. Makeovers. What an incredibly stupid idea. Who'd pay to have a moody old grouch like Margaret smear gunk all over their face? Ha, no one. Horrid Henry started laughing and pointing. Vain Violet looked like a demon with red and blue and purple gloop all over her face. Gorgeous Gorinda looked as if a paint pot had been poured down her cheeks. Linda's hair looked as if she'd been struck by lightning. But Violet wasn't screaming and yanking Margaret's hair out. Instead, she handed Margaret money. Thanks, Margaret. Oh, I look amazing, said Vain Violet, admiring herself in the mirror. Henry waited for the mirror to crack. It didn't. Thanks, Margaret, said Gorinda. I look so fantastic, I hardly recognise myself. And she also handed Margaret £1. 2 whole pounds! Were they mad? Are you getting ready for the monsters' ball? Jeered Henry. Shut up, Henry, said Vain Violet. Shut up, Henry, said Gorgeous Gorinda. You're just jealous because I'm going to be rich and you're not, said Margaret. na 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 na. Why don't we give Henry a makeover? Said Violet. Good idea, said Moody Margaret. He could sure use one. Yeah, said Sour Susan. Horrid Henry took a step back. Margaret advanced towards him, wielding nail varnish and a hairbrush. Violet followed, clutching a lipstick, spray dye, and other instruments of torture. Yikes. Horrid Henry nipped back to the safety of his fort as fast as he could, trying to ignore the horrible, cackling laughter. He sat on his purple hand throne and scoffed some extra tasty chocolate biscuits from the secret stash he'd nicked from Margaret yesterday. Makeovers? Ha! How dumb could you get? Trust a pea-brained grouch like Margaret to come up with such a stupid idea. Who in their right mind would want a makeover? On the other hand, Horrid Henry had actually seen Margaret being paid, and good money, too, just for smearing some coloured gunk onto people's faces and yanking their hair about. Horrid Henry started to think. Maybe Margaret did have a little eensy, teensy, weensy, tiny bit of a good idea. And naturally, anything she could do, Henry could do much, much better. Margaret obviously didn't know the first thing about makeovers, so why would she make all that money, thought Horrid Henry indignantly. He'd steal, no, borrow her idea and do it better. Much, much better. He'd make people look really fantastic. Horrid Henry's makeovers. Henry's marvellous makeovers. Henry's miraculous makeovers. He'd be rich. With some false teeth and red marker, he could turn Miss Battleaxe into a vampire. Mrs. Oddbod could be a perfect Dracula. And wouldn't Stuck-Up Steve be improved after a short visit from a makeover magician? Even Aunt Ruby wouldn't recognise him when Henry had finished. Tee-hee. First, he needed supplies. That was easy. Mum had tons of gunk for smearing all over her face, and if he ran out, he could always use crayons and glue. Horrid Henry dashed to the bathroom and helped himself to a few handfuls of Mum's makeup. What on earth did she need all this stuff for, thought Henry, piling it into a bag. About time someone cleared out this drawer. Then he wrote a few leaflets. Horrid Henry, makeover magician, was ready for business. All he needed was some customers. Preferably rich, ugly customers. Now, where could he find some of those? Henry strolled into the sitting room. Dad was reading on the sofa. Mum was working at the computer. Horrid Henry looked at his aged, wrinkly, boring old parents. Blesh! Blah! Blah! Boy, could they be improved, thought Henry. How could he tactfully persuade these potential customers that they needed his help fast? Mum, said Henry, you know Great Aunt Greta? Yes, said Mum. Well, you started to look just like her. What? Said Mum. Yup, said Horrid Henry. Old and ugly, except he peered at her. You have more wrinkles. What? Squeaked Mum. And Dad looks like a gargoyle, said Henry. Yeah, said Dad. Only scarier, said Henry. But don't worry, I can help. Oh, really? Said Mum. Oh, really? Said Dad. Yeah, said Henry. I'm doing makeovers. He handed Mum and Dad a leaflet. Are you ugly? Are you very, very ugly? Do you look like the creature from the Black Lagoon? Only worse. Then today is your lucky day. Henry's marvellous makeovers. Only £2 for an exciting new you. So, how many makeovers would you like? Said Horrid Henry. 10? 20? Maybe more, because you're so old and need a lot of work to fix you. Make over someone else, said Mum, scowling. Make over someone else, said Dad, scowling. Boy, talk about ungrateful, thought Henry. Me first! No, me! Screams were coming from Margaret's garden. Kung Fu Kate and Singing Soraya were about to become her latest victims. Well, not if Henry could help it. Step right up. Get your makeovers here, shouted Henry. Miracle makeovers from an expert. Only £2 for a brand new customer. Leave my customers alone, copycat, hissed Moody Margaret, holding out her hand to snatch Kate's pound. Henry ignored her. You look boring, Kate, said Henry. Why don't you let a real expert give you a makeover? You, said Kate. £2 and you'll look completely different, said horrid Henry. Guaranteed. Margaret's only charging £1, said Kate. My special offer today is 75p for the first makeover, said horrid Henry. And free beauty advice, he added. Soraya looked up. Kate stood up from Margaret's chair. Such as, scowled Margaret. Go on, tell us. Eek! What on earth was a beauty tip? If your face is dirty, wash it. Use a nit comb. Horrid Henry had no idea. Well, in your case, wear a bag over your head, said Horrid Henry. Or a bucket. Susan snickered. Ha ha, very funny, snapped Margaret. Come on, Kate, don't let him trick you. I'm the makeover expert. I'm going to try Henry, said Kate. Me too, said Soraya. Yippee! His first customers. Henry stuck out his tongue at Margaret. Kung Fu Kate and Singing Soraya climbed over the wall and sat down on the bench at the picnic table. Henry opened his makeover bag and got to work. No peeking, said Henry. I want you to be surprised. Henry smeared and coated, primped and coloured, slopped and glopped. This was easy. I'm so beautiful, hummed Soraya. Aren't you going to do my hair? Said Kung Fu Kate. Naturally, said horrid Henry. He emptied a pot of glue on her head and scrunched it around. What have you put in him? Said Kate. Secret hair potion, said Henry. What about me? Said Soraya. No problem, said Henry, shoveling in some red paint. A bit of black here, a few blobs of red there, a smear of purple and... Well, hey! Henry stood back to admire his handiwork. Wow, Kung Fu Kate looked completely different. So did Singing Soraya. Next time he charged £10. The moment people saw them, everyone would want one of Henry's marvellous makeovers. You look amazing, said horrid Henry. He had no idea he was such a brilliant makeover artist. Customers would be queuing up for his services. He'd need a bigger piggy bank. There, just like the mummy, Frankenstein and a vampire, said Henry, handing Kate a mirror. Ah! Screamed Kung Fu Kate. Soraya snatched the mirror. Ah! Screamed Singing Soraya. Horrid Henry stared at them. Honestly, there was no pleasing some people. No, squealed Kung Fu Kate. But I thought you wanted to look amazing, said Henry. Amazingly good, not scary, wailed Kate. Has anyone seen my new lipsticks? Said Mum. I could have sworn I put them in the... She caught sight of Soraya and Kate. screeched the man. Henry, how could you be so horrid? Go to your room. But, gasped Lord Henry. It was so unfair. Was it his fault his stupid customers didn't know when they looked great? Henry stomped up the stairs. Then he sighed. Maybe he did need a little more makeover practice before he opened for business. Now, where could he find someone to practice on? I got an A on my spelling test, said Perfect Peter. I got a gold star for having the tidiest drawer, said Tidy Ted. And I got in the Good as Gold book again, said Goody Goody Gordon. Henry burst into Peter's room. I'm doing makeovers, said Horrid Henry. Who wants to go first? Said Peter. Said Tad. We're going to Sam's birthday party today, said Gordon. Even better, said Henry beaming. I can make you look great for the party.